Alright, I wanted to talk about, this is more of a complaint video, but I wanted to talk about the gift box pet, the Reindeerling Slayer. I like the art, the animation's real quick. I like the animation well enough. Was excited about the original idea of eating a status, but we all found out pretty quickly that eating fragile specifically is not ideal. So they changed it to attack SP. So here we have 322 SP, and so a lot of players like to attack SP on this round to prevent the SP attack, which is usually for more damage than the normal, right? So we had underwyrmling pet before. It also attacks, it's fire based, but it also leaves behind a disease effect, which is almost like a reverse barrier for SP heals. So it actually works pretty well. But I wanted to show off why this pet is absolutely horrible. Alright, so the first thing, in order to get the most out of it, so you have to have fragile inflicted. So now I've switched over to attack your spirit. So I've done the celerity. So what I'm going to do is attempt to see if I can get fragile. Alright, so we have fragile here, and then I'll just attack. But what I want you to do is I want you to look at how many hit points the Frost Goliath has at the beginning of the attack. And this is going to go twice, so it's going to be exacerbated in Bard of War. So I have those toggles on. And then what I want you to do is look at the damage. So he has 322 SP, 110% ice. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. I know it's going to miss. Alright, so we're starting out at 4172. Alright, so we ended up from 4172 up to 4998. So let's see. So we basically gave the monster 826 hit points to kill off 300 and what was it, 26 SP. And because I had to inflict fragile to get, basically I increased the damage here. And that's all that happened, was the damage to the SP went up. Let's see. So that was probably almost 1,000 damage that first round. All three hits were lucky strikes. They were all in the 300 and something damage. So against 110% ice with lucky strikes and this foam finger boost, we did about 1,000 damage to SP. I don't know of any monsters that have 1,000 SP that you need to kill off. And that last attack was only like 9 fragile. I think it removes 13.5. So that damage was actually slightly lower than what it could have been. So what we're doing, so now the monster's up to 5,000 hit points. We only needed to kill off 326. So basically the design of this pet is complete and utter shit. I tried to put a thread on the forums to try to drum up support, but nobody is willing to stick their neck out, or maybe people just disagree and they just don't get what's going on here, and they don't understand that this design is so utterly bad, and they just, I don't know if their brains aren't working or what. To me it's very, 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 very obvious. Most people are actually recommending not using this against people with fragile, against monsters with fragile. So I kind of feel like if the recommendation is not to use the fragile side, then the feature itself is completely there for no reason, so they need to change it. I have recommended that we keep the SP attack but remove the fragile eat side of it. And then I have recommended that maybe we should look at this as more of a healing pet based on damage, not too unlike Void Awakening pets. I think the Void Awakening pets are going to be maybe a baseline where you can heal hit points based on damage done, or maybe you could do maybe it does normal damage, but once it eats fragile, there is a separate heal that occurs. But what I would imagine here is if I'm going to be healing this guy for a large amount because I'm lessening the fragile, then I should be healing myself too. And that's where I'm coming from. It's a trade-off, and I would even make the argument that the heal could be stronger than normal because you're actually healing the monster. But I just wish people would get on the forums and plead their case. And if enough people would go on there and actually outline some of the things that they feel, if they really don't like the pet, don't be afraid of the naysayers from you know where, and just put your opinion out there, and maybe if enough people would do so, they'll actually act instead of using their quote-unquote production schedules as an excuse not to fix this thing, because it needs to be fixed. Maybe it will be fixed when they eventually update the fragile status, but that's no guarantee. I feel like this week's a light week because it's just a bunch of clones, and it's just a copy paste and have a good day items. It's actually a very light week. There's no reason why somebody can't circle back and fix this guy. But anyway, that's all I had. Wanted to kind of explain it, why I think the pet is crap. I think if they'd fix it, it would put sort of a resounding stamp on the set, which overall is very good. But this pet being so bad, I think it almost ruins it for me, just considering that I like to play as a Beastmaster. But anyway, that's all I had. Fuck this pet.